INSEE is a proud member of the Siam City Cement Group Public Limited, a leading cement manufacturer in Southeast Asia. The Siam City Cement Group provides world-class construction materials to a host of countries around the world. This includes Cambodia, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia and Sri Lanka. With a plethora of landmarks and buildings that define the skylines of these countries, the Siam Cement Group pledges to be a role model in corporate governance and sustainable development. INSEE Cement, Sri Lanka's premier cement manufacturer, is the brand behind our country's leading cement products and the driving force behind making Sri Lanka more sustainable. With a reputation built on outstanding performance in the quality of our products, unparalleled customer service, the dedication of our employees, our respect for the communities in which we operate, and our ambition to set the standards for the industry of tomorrow, we have contributed to the growth of Sri Lanka with iconic developments across the island. Just to name a few: the Lotus Tower, Altea Residencies, the Colombo South Harbour, Southern Expressway, Mattala Airport, the Kalladi Bridge, the Kotalavala Defence University, Mahinda Rajapaksa International Cricket Stadium. INSEE has cemented its position as the most preferred local manufacturer of cement in Sri Lanka, with its widespread distribution network comprised of over 7,000 dealers in retail segment located island-wide. Today, we have 2 plants in Puttalam and Galle and 2 terminals in Galle and Colombo. INSEE's Sunstar brand is Sri Lanka's first cement product to be awarded the Green Labelling certification by the Green Building Council and was the first blended cement to launch in Sri Lanka. INSEE has a wide portfolio of cements and services to suit all your construction needs. The most popular among them: INSEE Sunstar, INSEE Mahavalley Marine Plus, INSEE Extra for mass pouring concrete, INSEE Rapid Flow Plus, INSEE EcoCycle, INSEE Concrete, Convert by INSEE, state-of-the-art innovation and development facility. Having been a part of Sri Lanka for almost a decade, we will continue to build on our long heritage of shared loyalty, creating trusting relationships with our business partners, people and community, and delivering our promise of building the nation.
First 3 inventions or the innovations in the earth. First one is the stick, pointing stick. So that was one, I got into this particular image that won the 3rd place. The second the place was to the fire. So the fire was the greatest, the second greatest invention which was happening in the world. And the 3rd one is the wheel. So these are the 3 inventions which has changed the dimensions of the human being. And you compare this with the modern day, what is happening and what is innovating or inventing in all over the world. I mean, many of these things are not real inventions, those are real disruptions. Disruptions, I am reiterating the same point, same word, disruption. I'll give you some facts for you to think yourself whether we are doing right or wrong. Let me show you some of the images. Yeah, starting with this. Can you go back to your childhood? I know there are a lot of people who are cross-cutting the let's say 50, 60, 70 years, the whole duration, the cross-cut, the audience is there, watching this particular presentation. But if I just compare my childhood versus the child today, I mean, I still can remember, I came after the school with the same school uniform. I go and started playing with my friends, and my mother has to pick me home in the evening when she returned from the office to do my studies. But today, the kids are much more attached to the mobile devices, maybe the smartphone or the laptop or the tablet. So they are very much attached to these devices, and the mother has to pull them out to go and experience the nature, experience the community around him. So that is one simple example of the experience which you and I enjoyed, let's say for a few 5, 6 decades. Another interesting image about the greener construction, innovative construction towards the innovation, towards the sustainability. If I take another small example, because there are a lot of stuff we need to learn out of these things. I mean, if you really want to build something, whether it is green or ungreen, whether it is black or white, we have to understand the sense of the human who lives today. You go back to your childhood. I'm very sure many of you who are in my age and above me, you have this image, the experience which is in your left hand side. That is making a kite. So you get the right material, right? Maybe many of the engineers, many of the architects, many of these designers who got the sense of creativity by making a kite. Because if you really want to be greener, number one is you need to select the correct material, and with the correct amount of quantities and the fixing and the stability. So those matters a lot than the other, I mean, high-tech sophisticated stuff. So this particular, the kite, I mean, you get the correct material, you get the symmetricity, you add the papers very low, very, I mean, those are really I mean, you make it in 1 or 2 days, you will not be able to find your kite because it is deteriorated and absorbed by the earth. So that particular construction teach a lot in your life. So, and even when you are trying to fly the kite in the sky, that again learned a lot of lessons for you, because I mean that you experience by everything by your two hands. So that gives you an immense knowledge on sustainability, on being understanding the nature. You understand what is around you, and you do a construction. You do something which suit the conditions outside you. But today, 2020 or even 2021, you have a nice drone with you, all done, nothing to nothing to adjust than fixing the the wheels. So you have the drone, you get the two joysticks, you move them, and you can fly the drone. That is much more advanced than the kite which I was talking from my childhood. And this the newly developed kite, it has another advantage. You can get the bird eye view as well. So the kids living today are much more fascinated, much more advanced, because you have everything under the sun with in front of you, because the technology is that much advanced for you to feel the world beyond what we felt in our childhood. Let me take another image about the green construction, green thinking. I'm not going to 1930s or 13s. In my parents, I mean, when I take my parents also, they never went to a gym after the work to burn their calories, because they had the gym inside the kitchen. They had the gym inside their house. That doesn't mean, I mean, we were rich and we had a gymnasium inside my house. That is not what I mean. But these people who lived in old days, they had everything inside their house. So by doing day-to-day activities, they managed to keep their body shape and burn their extra calories. But today, you are really I mean, busy. You have a busy lifetime. You woke up in the morning, you do jogging, and then you move to the office, then come back from the office, you go to gymnasium, because daytime you earn some calories and you are going to burn them. So if you are going to think green, you need to think of these as well. Being green, I mean, who's much greener whether the person is who lived in 2020 or 1990s? I don't know. I mean, that is up to you to judge. But anyway, I'm trying to show you the difference between the people who lived in the past and people who are living in today. So I know how much many people I mean, trying to reduce their stomach by doing a lot of other activities, because many of the people who lost the shape of the human, I mean, I'm not really referring the female, but the male. I mean, you lost your figure, you lost your shape of the body, and you are struggling to achieve them, because I mean, you are trying to be artificially greener, because inside you are not green enough. That's why you can see this particular difference. Well, from that to the I mean, I'm going back to the great history. You take any of these constructions, starting from Dambulla, I mean, to Sigiriya, to this, I mean, all these things. I mean, you can understand right? You can understand all this construction, the great construction from this the ancient the tanks to statues to small constructions. You have used always try to use natural or near natural material. That is number one. The processing was very low, but still they are intact after even 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years. Still these structures are visible with small, I mean, very minimum damage to them, because they have selected the correct material. They learn from the nature. They learn from the nature. I'm repeating the point. They learn from the nature. They got the natural material or near natural material. They did little bit of processing, and finally they made marvelous creations. You take the Bisukudu. If I say, I'm not going to talk about the Bisukudu technology, because I know 100% of people who are watching this particular presentation knows about the Bisukudu technology. But if I tell you about one fact about Bisukudu, if I tell the first ever Bisukudu built in Sri Lanka and the last Bisukudu built in Sri Lanka, if I say the technology was 100% the same, one can say, I mean, these people who lived in the past, who doesn't know how to deal with the technology. You take your mobile phone. When I can remember this particular technology came to Sri Lanka as a gadol bag. It's big like this. Then it was reduced the size, increase the performance. I mean, that is the technology. But this particular Bisukudu was never changed. The reason was not that the other people doesn't know about the technology. The reason was the first ever Bisukudu built in Sri Lanka was built or made or designed with 100% accurate technology. So why we need to change the technology in a Bisukudu? From that, if I move to an interesting thing on green, the food and agriculture, the construction, you can build a construction, but you have to survive. I mean, for that, you need to have food and agriculture. So again, I mean, you go back to the past, you can see we had a nice, marvelous, very productive agricultural setup there in the past. And one may say, okay, I mean, there were a few thousands of people living in the past in Anuradhapura era, and they have done a small paddy and they lived. I mean, believe me, I mean, I'm very sorry to say, there should be definitely millions of people living in this Anuradhapura era. Otherwise, they will not be able to build such marvelous creations, marvelous constructions in the past. And that particular people, they knew one single fact, the basics of sustainability. That is, they knew they're going to die one day. I mean, you compare the people who lived in 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years ago with the people who are living today. I mean, even at the ICU bed, they are trying to live one extra minute or a second. They can't understand they are going to die. I'm not going to blame them. I mean, we should try our best to spend one additional second if it is available. But the thing is, these people doesn't know that. I mean, until they are at the final stage, they never know that they are going to die. So because of that, these people doesn't know what is meant by green. I mean, we do green construction, forgetting the green should be here inside you. If you take your green thinking out, how much you are trying to be green artificially, you are a real failure. So these people, I'm very much sure, they were very much greener. The constructions were greener, agriculture was greener. Not only that, the medicine even. I mean, today also, we are talking about a lot of Sinhala and Ayurvedic medicine. The Ayurvedic medicine came from India. I'm not going to talk about the Ayurvedic medicine, but the Sinhala Vedakama, the Hela Vedakama, you won't believe still some of these Hela Vedakama, again coming from the nature, they studied the nature, they learned the nature, and they created beautiful, very interesting, very useful, very productive medicine for the people. I'll take one example from the history. There's one medicine called Rasavedakama. They are, I mean, you know, all of you know that the mercury is a heavy material. So I know, I mean, in your childhood, the parents never allowed you to touch mercury because it can cause cancer. But the people who lived in the past, they played with mercury. I could say played with mercury. What they did was they put the mercury into a stone cup and got the stone tick, and they would start working with the material over and over, maybe days, months, or even weeks. And finally, they managed to convert mercury into a very productive medicine that is called Rasavedakama. So We talked about nanotechnology, nanomaterials in greener construction, but believe me, the nano was basically invented by Sri Lanka. They never knew about the term called nano, but they knew one interesting thing. By breaking the material into finer level, they can change the properties. So that is nano. So from that, if I just moved from there to the modern world and modern science, where you and I enjoy today, let me go through the same three topics which I was discussing about. One is about the construction and the technology available. You take your mobile phone, you will be able to find anything under the sun inside this mobile phone. If you want to purchase cement, those days you have to go to the hardware to purchase the cement, but today you can make an order online. So all online. If you want to find an engineer, it is inside. A doctor, it's inside. So everything now is inside the phone. So from that, if I move to the food technology, we never knew about planting trees other than the water plants without soil. But today, it is hydroponic. I mean, it's 100% water-based, and we do the farming. And this, people need more food. We have 7.8 billion population living in the world. So you need more food to cater that. People have changed the genes. I'm not going to say, destroy the nature of the genes, but they change the genes. I'll put it in that way. So they changed the genes and they created this creature. So it's not a bull anymore. It's a meat bull. So let me show you another interesting image. This cock. So people, I know there are different types of cocks you should have seen in your life, but the broiler chicken industry, the chicken from this side of egg to 2.5 kilos of meat pool, that take 48 days. That was my childhood. But today, believe me, it is only 16 days from this to 5 pounds of meat pool. That take only 16 days. That creature can't even think of dying. It will be killed and sent to your plate. So you talked about greed, and this is what is happening at the other end of the world. The medicine, we were talking about Rasa Vedakama and all these Ayurvedic and Hela Vedakama. But you think of a disease today, the next day you'll be able to get the drug as well, because the world is, the technology is that much advanced. Sometimes, developing countries like Sri Lanka, we are much more fortunate, because sometimes you get the drug and they will find the disease is not there. The next plane, you will get the disease as well. So we are fortunate. How much we try to say we are green, and we are towards the green construction and greener life. Still inside us, there's something non-green. So that is what I wanted to show you. Well, look at this. Not look at you. I hope you can hear the video. I'll stay silent for 1 or 2 minutes for you to understand what is really happening in the world.
Dancing on ice as well. Oh. Even walking is tough for me, so dancing on ice is highly impressive.
It's our first time having a robot as a guest on the show.
I know that Philip used to host a show with a human-operated gopher puppet, so talking with a robot should be easy for you.
And we understand that you've recently learned a new skill, haven't you? So what is that?
I have learned how to draw. This new skill took several months, a team of talented engineers, and collaboration with artist Patrick Trusset to achieve. I am really excited to show you how it works.
Look at the facial expressions. Look at how this Sophia, this robot called Sophia, how she expressed the feelings. People, now people doesn't know how to smile, but this Sophia can smile. So how can you become greener? How can you think greener if you can't express your facial expressions? If you can't express your feelings, how can you say you are a human? Without being a human, without trying to be a human, how much you are trying to achieve being green with the infrastructure, the whole system will be a failure. So this is about Sophia, and she got the citizenship in 2017 by Saudi Arabia, and she is a citizen now in the world you and I live. So from that, let me talk to where and what we have done to the world. So every day you burn fossil for all the other stuff. Normally when I was the child again, when I was schooling those days, we believed the highest amount of carbon dioxide was emitted by the transport, but it is today 25%. But 40% of the carbon dioxide emission, more than 40% actually today, is by the buildings, and about even there, about 80% at the running stage, not at the construction stage. So we worry too much on the construction, the cost, but we never worried about the maintenance cost and the running cost. So all these things matters on the carbon dioxide emission and the greenhouse gas emission. And because of this thing, the global warming is happening, the temperature is going up, and you can say the climate change is not tomorrow, it is today. So many of these images which you can see, they are not computer chill marks. It was there in the world. Face mask was very new to Sri Lanka after the COVID pandemic, but the face mask was used by Chinese and Indians and many other people around the globe, because the air around them, not because of the virus, the COVID virus or any other virus, the air pollution, the level of pollution forced them to wear the face mask. So this was the world, this is the world which you and I live today. Every day the impact of these natural hazards, the impact and the frequency is going up. So that is really alarming. So let me show you another interesting image from China. This is Beijing, China. You have one image. This is what the people did, how much we talked about the green. This is what exactly the human did, and this is what exactly the nature did within 14 days, and that is the 14th day of the Chinese lockdown. So you can see for years what the human has done to the nature, and within 14 days how the world or the environment has recovered it in a nice way. I don't know which one you prefer to live, but I personally prefer to live in the left hand side than the right hand side. Well, okay, from that, let me move to the greener construction, which I was talking about other countries and other what is happening all over the world. I should not stop my the speech without talking about what is happening at University of Morito and myself towards construction, greener construction, because I was criticizing from the first slide to the last slide about the greener construction, because we need to change the attitudes. So greener construction and being greener is not that difficult, not that complicated, not that it is very simple if you can change the mindset. So if I tell you what is mean by being green in few seconds, please listen to this. Right, what is that? If you can match the natural beat in by an artificial instrument, and if you can write them together, you can see that feels you, that touches you. So that means your product, your final output is towards green. You can feel it. It is much more natural, because it's very close to the natural noise, and it's not the same natural voice which the bird sang, but you couple that with the artificial noise created by you. So if you can do the same thing in your day-to-day activities, in your constructions, whatever, you can understand that will make you green. So let me tell you some of the points from my life. How I tried my best to be green and bring this green construction and green construction material to the country. I was inspired by this page. I'm very sure you know about this page. This is the Vespabi and Sinhala we say Rankubal. That is very much common animal in Sri Lanka nowadays. It is not that common, but when we were kids, again, that creature was very much common. And So I was closely observing this creature from my childhood. So he get the clay, mix with saliva, and he make a very thin wall for his nest, for his next generation. And the bottom three images, I don't know how many of you have the experience of living in this house. And if I say, okay, how many of you like to spend a day in one of these houses which you can see at the bottom, I'm very sure you'll not be able to give an answer straight away. But if I say, how many of you doesn't like to spend a night in a house like this, even without your experience, you still think, okay, why not? I mean, I should give a try. So I have given a try, not try. I have lived in these houses. Believe me, I mean, these are the best sustainable, green, comfortable houses I have ever lived in my life. But unfortunately, there are a lot of drawbacks in these materials, because the one is mainly the biggest issue is the durability. Other one is about the air quality, because I mean you live with pure clay, because this dust can emit, and that can create the loss of low air quality inside. So there are a lot of other parameters which can reduce the value of these structures. But there are a lot of plus points. You go inside, you can feel it is really comfortable. Outside is very hot, but inside is very cold. So even you walk barefoot, you will feel the comfort, because these structures are that much of comfortable inside the house. So that triggers me in my life. And finally, at University of Moradua, we created, it was not just mixing the clay with saliva. There are a lot of testing done, a lot of the work carried out by my research students. And it's not me, it's we finally developed my first patent, that's mud concrete block. So that is not the end of this particular product. I mean, and what I did was personally, I mean, I got the patent. That's my first patent, and then I tried my best to give this get the maximum satisfaction out of this particular product, this particular block. Then I went and selected the best possible way of commercializing this. That is this. Not to earn money, but to earn the satisfaction. So I went and built houses for war affected people, so they live happily with these houses. So these houses are out of mud, out of soil, and they are really durable, and you will get the same experience with structural cooling, which is very much similar to these wattle and herb structures. One can say, okay, I mean, these houses are low-cost houses. I really don't like to use that particular word, but they are really sustainable houses. One can say still these are low-cost houses. I mean, these are for poor people. But let me show you the same product in a luxury way. Same product in a luxury way. Who doesn't want to live in a house like this? Anyway, I have used cement as well. Little bit of cement, but majority is soil. But look at the finish. Look at how much we are close to the nature, and anytime you can demolish them, right, and convert this the same to soil. So that is called being green. So that is not the end of the clay, the inventions or the construction material development which I did, which was developed by University of Moradua, or myself and with my team. So this particular creature, I'm going to give you a point. I mean, if you really want to be greener, you go and study from the nature. You go and learn from the people around, not the people, but the animal around you, because that can teach you how to become real green, because they know how to live green than the humans. So we are disruptive. Our inventions are disruptive, but these creatures will tell you how to be green. This creature, you can see, instead of in addition to clay and water, he mixed the clay with some fiber, some grass particles. So I use the same technique. I work with my PhD students, a lot of PhD students on this thing. So I tried with natural polymers, industrial waste, and the sludge materials. And it's a long list of materials. And finally, a lot of testing done. Not only small mixing and casting. We have to do some XRF 3D scanning. So a lot of experiments, and finally I managed to get another 5 more patents. That is again on soil. And this is another interesting inventions toward green. If you want to be green, the biggest problem is achieving the thermal comfort without the air conditioner, without the fan. So I'm trying to get the same with an innovative idea by developing a tile which can act as a natural air conditioner. I'm very sure you'll be able to understand what I'm trying to do with this changing of the walling element. So it's a triple skin wall now with the air cavity inside, and by changing the material, these walls are acting as thermal masses, and finally you will get the, and again patented product, but this will reduce the indoor temperature inside. What is this? Sigiriya and the beautiful the mirror wall on your left hand side. This particular mirror wall was not done with cement, sorry to say, but this is still lasting even after 1,000-2,000 years. So how this was happened? And the shine is same as which was there 1,000-2,000 years. So that particular shine is just to get the mirror image of the beautiful ladies, which was mural in your right hand side. So when you're walking on this particular path, you can see, you can mirror the same beautiful ladies on your right in your left as well. So that is why this particular mirror wall was designed. So material was not cement, but it is much more close to cement. It is strong as cement. So we wonder how can we do this particular the material. So I got the water waste sludge as the raw material, and did a lot of testing with natural and artificial polymers and adhesives, belly, daul kurudu, and finally, you won't believe, we got the same decoding done on this mirror wall. So this is the final product of the putty, wall putty, which was developed using water waste, water treated wastewater sludge. So it's a real waste, and we upcycled the waste to a beautiful wall finishing putty, and you can see the image. That was not the end of the clay story. This is the clay, the soil-based flooring, very recently done, and you can see the final product. You can cut it as a terrazzo floor, and finally you can make a beautiful floor out of soil. let me stop talking about the soil. I mean, it is sustainable. I'm talking about soil because I mean it is natural. And if you do some site modification, I'm not really asking you to follow the material which I was proposed, but you can try. You can be innovative if you really want to be greener, and if you want to be towards greener, you need to come up with innovation. The being greener cannot exist without innovation. Being greener cannot exist without R&D. That is why I know INSEE is doing a lot of R&D to reduce the carbon footprint of cement. So if you reduce the carbon footprint of cement, I'll be able to use more cement with your product, and finally I'll be able to develop something, invent something, innovate something, some material with a low carbon footprint. So these three structures, I'm very sure you know about these structures. One is King Parakram Bao's palace in Polinaru. The second one is very famous timber carving that is Ambekki Devalaya, and the bottom one, Sumana Saman Devalaya in Ratnapura. The story starts 4 years ago, or rather 5 years ago, when I was going for a site visit, passing Ratnapura. I was happened to visit these Saman Devalaya, and I found they are doing some renovation, and I saw a big wall plate lying on the ground without any attention. So I mean that triggered me to do a study on this particular material. What I did, I went to the Basunna, the person who is doing the head Basunna, the big rather the contractor, and I said, I mean, can I get a small piece of this wall plate? He said, yes, why not? I mean, he got the chainsaw, he cut the piece, and that is what you can see from your left hand side, and he gave that to me. So I was so lucky to get a small piece of wall plate from Saman Devalaya. So that triggered to me a lot of things on towards greener construction. So this piece was lasted more than 700 years. And the timber you use today, with all sophisticated treatments, which it will last only, let's say 20, 30, maximum 50 years, you have to replace the timber. But this timber piece, you can see it is more than 700 years old, but still it is intact. Then I managed to link that with my grandfather's technique. If he wants to improve treat the timber, what he did was he buried the timber in mud, and not only just burying, there are a lot of other natural ways of treating the soil before burying the timber. So that triggered me. So then I wanted to study on this particular thing, but I was not a timber expert, I was not a archaeological expert person. So I wanted to pull my team. I have a civil engineering background, so I went to my good friend Raj Somadeva, and I asked, can you join with me for this particular reason? I'm telling this with the reason. If you want to be towards the greener, you can't achieve with one single person. You can't do it on your own. You need to have a team. So I got a person with a different background. He's not an engineer. He's an archaeologist. So Professor Raj Somadeva joined. Then I wanted to get an expert on timber. I went to Hiran, Professor Hiran from Halwathura University. I spoke to him. He joined with me with the timber experts. And then I wanted to develop a new technology for this thing. I joined another person from Halwathura Technology Faculty, Dr. Randika, and the technical assistant from the Sling Tech. So it's a team is ready, then the student. So I wanted to get the best student of this particular research. So it is not a civil engineer, it's not a chemical engineer. I went and searched for a person who can eat timber, and I found the student from the design batch from University of Moratua, a timber designer who can taste timber. So she came and started doing this particular research, and finally, I mean, we went and we studied about all these Tampita Viharas, these ambalams, everything we studied, from the color to the tester to the knotting and graining. So everything was studied. Not only that, we had to there are a lot of laboratory experiments, gold coating, gold plating, and testing the type of material inside, and whether there's a material insertion or leaching the stuff out. So we were testing, and finally we managed to develop a timber treatment technique out of natural material, a nano timber treatment technique, vacuum extracted. today, which is performing much better than the modern timber treatment techniques in the world, in the country. So that is how we went for different approaches. That is not to show that we are doing right, we are doing good, but I share my experience because I felt those experience can definitely help you to drive towards greener industry. So none of these things, I mean, none of these things which I showed you about myself are not not what you can see me today. There are a lot of failures. I mean, until I find my end, I mean, until I find my success, I couldn't find another end. So there have a lot of bending in my life, bending in all these research, bending in achieving sustainable, bending in being towards greener construction, and there were bending, and finally we achieved. So there's no such cold failure. If you really want to be green, if you really want to be, I mean, towards greener construction, green life, so you don't have to worry about what the other people are thinking. You talk to yourself, you talk to the person inside you, and try to listen to him and try to achieve where you want to be. So let me share another interesting image about being green. This is Okinawa beach. In 2014, they found Okinawa beach doesn't have corals, and they finally decide, okay, we should plant corals, and they planted corals. And today, by 2020 or 2021, you can see it's a thick jungle of coral inside the Okinawa beach, Okinawa Sea. And I mean, this gives immense lessons for us to achieve what we want to be, what we want to achieve in our lives. If you really want to be green, yes, why not? You go and do it. If you do the right thing at the right time with the right set of people, with the right attitude, I'm very sure you can drive towards being green. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Halwathura, for your nice presentation and faculty of, I think it was fruitful and also very energetic. May I invite our General Manager, Mr. Nandan Amruthudua, General Manager for Industrial Sales and INSEE Concrete, to conduct the Q&A session.
Thank you, Dishan. Thank you, Professor, for your valuable presentation. And I mean, it is nice to see that the studies are going on our traditional and inherited knowledge. So, for the audience, if you have any question, either you can raise your hand so we can give access to your mic, or otherwise, please type any questions you have in the chat box. Professor, before we go into the questions from the audience, I mean, we saw some nice floor finishes and brickwork. So, and it's under patent. So, at the moment, are these products are commercialized or?
Yeah, many of them. Nandan, I mean, it's available, commercially available, but not in large scale. I mean, we give assistance, and we give the knowledge to anybody. If they want, they can. I mean, even though those are patented, we still can share the knowledge with anybody, and then those are commercially available. Yes. And those, I mean, all these products has cement. I mean, it doesn't mean it is 100% soil. It has cement, little amount of cement, but the idea is to reduce the carbon footprint by reducing the amount of cement used, and more than that, not the cement. The biggest issue is with sand. I mean, you know what is really happening in Sri Lanka. Just the rivers are collapsing, the sides are collapsing, and that has become a real social and environment issue. So and also there are a lot of sand mines, illegal sand mines not around in and around rivers, but inside big lands now. I have seen big lands, 10-acre, 20-acre lands. Inside that, they have planted these big machines, and they just wash the soil. And the wash soil, the fine particle, they just release that to the river, and the river is again that will create another environment issue. So we are trying to address them. Why not washing? You use the same soil and improve it to get a beautiful finish.
Yeah, at the same time, so in manufacturing side, we also get very fine sludge, passing 100% passing through 750 or 150 micron seals. So at the moment, I think that is also becoming an environmental issue. So it's good for research because it is in abundance now.
That is already done, and then I mean we have already developed the product. We can convert that to a wall putty. So it's a very nice product. You can dry it, and you can mix with a few chemicals, and finally you will get it is not white color. I mean, if you want, you can change the color by painting. But more than you paint, if you can get the same soil finish, I'm very sure it's very attractive. So it's all done. Once again, it's patented, but still the product is now available. That's what I showed you.
Okay, good to know. So we will. Good to know. So we will correct some.
And take these products to the market. I mean, we'll be able to help them.
Okay, we have one question from the audience. How we can minimize the built-in embodied energy in urbanization, mainly in Sri Lanka?
Well, I mean, when you say urbanizing, still I think 75% of Sri Lankan population live in villages, not in cities. We have only 25% still in Sri Lanka. So I think we try to reduce the embodied energy in urbanizing context. I think we have to think of the whole cross section of the country. So the biggest, I think I explained this in my presentation as well. So the biggest contributor for this embodied energy, not the, I mean, embodied energy, yes, I mean, carbon footprint. I mean, if you just get the whole life cycle and the whole embodied carbon inside for a building, the embodied carbon achieves with this the time span of the building. But when you get the real spirit about building embodied energy, it is the energy which you embedded when you do the construction. So this particular energy, if you really wish to reduce the embodied energy, number one, the best is to find materials which has less embodied energy. That is number one. Number two, always try to collect the material from a close vicinity, reduce the transport cost, because this transport plus the real embodied the processing, material processing, which will count the embodied energy of the building. So if you can find materials which has low embodied energy, when I say low embodied energy, if it is very much natural or near natural, the processing is very low, then the embodied energy is low. That's what I was trying to explain throughout my presentation. So if it is a natural material or near natural material, at the same time, if can be converted to a natural material after it used, then the embodied energy of that particular material is very low. And the processing, if you process more, then the embodied energy is really high. And if you process more, the material is strong and it cannot be converted to the nature back. So I think my answer is clear to you. So there are two ways to reduce the embodied energy. One is to find the low embodied material by selecting near natural or natural material. The other one is reduce the transport distance. I mean, if you can find your materials in a close vicinity, you can reduce the embodied energy. And then I can't hear you. I think your mic is muted.
So we have another question from a civil engineer student from University of Sri Halwathura. What he's asking is, so I'm also interested in natural air conditioning systems. and I'm trying to develop some new systems. So how can you contact? So
But the best option is I can give my mobile number. You can WhatsApp me. Well, I mean,
sure.
I'm interested. There are a lot of new research areas with me. If anybody wishes, I mean, if you have the same sense of being green and towards green, you can join with me. I will share my contact details at the end of the presentation. I can give my Gmail. I think it's easy if you go to. If you go to internet, I'm very sure you will be able to find my contact numbers. I'll type my email, and I will give my mobile number as well, which I don't like to give since he requested. I'll not be able to say no, but I prefer you contact me through WhatsApp, because sometimes I'll not be able to pick the phone with my busy schedules. Yes, this is my mobile number.
Okay, I will share the number in this group, Professor. So there's another question about this hardened concrete. So I will couple it with another question. So in construction material, in construction sites, we have a lot of concrete waste in both terms. One in the fresh term as well as the hardened terms. So the question is, are there any innovation to use hardened concrete normally rejected at site as a raw material?
There are a lot of innovations happening. I mean, it is not to melt the concrete, but to grind the concrete and reuse for other construction. Maybe not good for I mean, let's say high strength concrete, but for lower grades like 25, 20, and even for road paving, you will be able to use them. There are a lot of even in Sri Lanka, there are a few small machines available where you can crush these hardened concretes and use them. When you say, I mean, again, I'm bringing a small concept now. You make a concrete, you make the concrete. Yes, at the end, after a while, you realize that particular concrete is not used. You want to recycle the concrete. But before recycle, I think there are a lot of other steps we need to follow. Number one, refuse. I mean, one is refuse. I mean, I'm not going to say refuse concrete, but refuse that particular element, whether it is really needed. I mean, you have to do a real need analysis and see that particular section is right. And a lot of these concretes happen, concrete bases happen because of design errors done by our own engineers, because they do the construction and then only they visualize 3D. They can't visualize the building in 3-dimensionally before they build it. They have to physically build it. So that's a big issue with the current engineers who are passing out from including my university, because they can't visualize things 3-dimensionally. They need to physically see that. Then only they realize, okay, wow, oh, sorry, there's a mistake. We need to demolish it. Sometimes you make rooms without a door, without a window. So after they built and after they put the slab wall, they realize, okay, oh, I mean, sorry, we need to put a door, so we have to break the wall. So I think that is number one thing you need to do. You have to see whether you have to really you are doing right. The next one is, before you recycle, try to see whether you can reuse it. May not be in the same form, same size, but you can change the form, you can change the size, but it is the same concrete. Again, you can reduce the embodied energy for the new construction you're going to do. Then that is the next thing. The third is the final last. I mean, you try to reuse it. If you can't reuse, just go for a landfill. But there are 3 other steps before you go for the recycle. And that again, the creativity. I mean, even engineers, you have to be very creative, not only the architects. So then only the construction, you can use the material effectively. Let's say if you can if you can reduce 100 bags of cement from one construction, just note that there are thousands of odd people who are waiting to buy another cement bag because they don't have money. So you have 2 ends. So if you try to reduce the use of material, for that you have to be very creative.
Fully agreed. In other countries, they push for BIM and other sophisticated technology, and here in Sri Lanka, at some sites, you see they built before they instruct, and that is happening. So just to add to that, at our readings plant, we have a concrete reclaimer. So using that reclaimer, we can separate coarse aggregates and fine aggregates separately, and we can use it straight away for the next batch. We can at least recover the fine aggregates and coarse aggregates.
Nandana, that is not the knowledge. I mean, when you say BIM and other stuff, I mean, it is known to Sri Lankan people as well, and there are a lot of the lecturers from these universities who are graduated from who got the doctorate from different universities. They have studied and they have learned, they have researched on BIM. But once they land to Sri Lanka from Katnayake airport, their attitudes had completely changed. Again, back to the normal scenario. They lived in the same way. So it is not the knowledge, but their real attitudes.
Fully agreed. So I think we are running out of time. Dishan, can you take?
Thank you very much, Nandana.
Yeah.
Mr. Nandana Amanuthudu is our General Manager for Industrial Sales and INSEE Concrete. Thanks again, Professor Halwathura, for your kind explanation and nice invitation for our researchers and innovative thinkers. May I invite our dear friend, our young engineer, Engineer Himal Chandradasa, Assistant Manager for Key Accounts in Cement, to give away the vote of thanks. Himal, over to you.
Yes, Dishan. Let me thank our resource person for the day, Professor Halwathura, for sharing knowledge on means of achieving greener construction. And thank you very much, sir, for your time and insights on adapting prevailing construction practices with the intention of promoting greener construction. And at the same time, we had significant participation. So would like to extend our thanks to all the participants who participated for the event today. So thank you very much again and have a nice day. Good night.
Thank you, Himal. Himal is a very energetic and young engineer, assistant manager for key accounts. Thank you very much. So thank you again, Professor Halwathura and the audience, especially for participating to our 9th webinar session, 24th knowledge sharing session, conducted and organized and conducted by INSEE, Innovation to Industry Collaboration Space. INSEE, one of the key objectives of INSEE Innovation to Industry Collaboration Space is creating this stage, creating this forum to discuss and share the knowledge, experience, and exposure of our fraternity. So thanks, ladies and gentlemen, and may I invite you, all of you, to join us for our next webinar session, 10th webinar session also, and hope you all have a very safe and a healthy time and a life. Thank you very much. Good night.